Hi, once again, we are back with yet another video series today. And today we have Nidhi Agarwal Shah. She is the communication and behavioral trainer. She has an industry experience of more than 10 years. And she's currently an owner of her own firm called Coherent Communication. So, guys, get very excited today because a lot of knowledge are going to be shared by her. And she's a really expert in her field. And she's been working for many years, and today we have I've really taken her valuable time. Basically, she's very busy all the time, but today she's taken out time for us, and let's make the most of it. So welcome, Nidhi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you?
Very well, very well. I am so glad that we could do this today. We've been trying to get on this platform for quite some time. I'm sorry actually about the delay, but I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So starting off with the first question, Nidhi, why is communication is the most important tool today for students?
Atul, honestly, if I start emphasizing on the importance of having good communication skills, I will run out of the time that you have allotted me
Correct.
because you can't measure it is immeasurable. I can just say that there was a time people used to feel that having good communication skills is an added advantage. Let me tell you, it is not an added advantage, it is a mandatory thing to have
Mm,
because giving you an example, if you have a good idea at your workplace, if you are not able to effectively pitch that idea in front of 10 people, you
mm,
will just end up cornering your manager, explaining him what the idea is, and then that person will go and pitch it out. Two things will happen. First, you will lose out on a potential promotion that you might have had.
true.
Second, you will end up cribbing and resenting your manager for the skills that he has and you don't.
That's true.
So that is something which is a lose-lose situation. Unnecessarily, that poor chap will look bad and get into your bad books, and primarily you will lose further confidence कि मेरे से इतना भी नहीं होता. So I would just suggest having good communication skills is very important because it just does not help you grow. It gives you confidence in every aspect, not just your workplace, in every manner possible. And the trend these days is you walk into a coffee shop, if you're not able to get the name of fancy coffees, you feel like you are not good enough. You
Mm,
feel like yeah, I don't think that I can communicate in English anymore. It is not about English. People try to communicate in ways which are not taught to us. We are not taught what is grande, what is venti, such kind of cups models.
correct.
We don't know,
Mm,
and just because we don't know them, we feel that we can't speak in English. So that is the big hassle there. So
yeah.
that is something that we have to work on. So
I
just
believe language is just a tool, I guess,
yeah,
for.
language is just a tool, an important tool at that, I agree. But at the same time, do not associate language with intelligence. Having
Correct.
good English speaking skills is not your measure of IQ. So that those are two very different things that you have to remember. The problem in our country is when you say communication skills, people think English. No, communication skills is the ability to speak clearly in any language. But we associate that with English, and we
Mm,
associate English with intelligence. Ergo, English is intelligence. No, that
correct.
is not the case. So, coming back to your question, why is having communication skills important, effective communication skills, so that you are able to express yourself better, you are able to understand the other person's perspective better,
Mm,
and you can solve problems with communication, which you will not be able to solve in any other matter so effectively. So, yes,
correct.
that would be the answer to that question.
That's pretty good, Nidhi, and it's have you have pointed out the nerve exactly on a larger scale. Is that it's not about the communication; it's about English is just a tool. I mean, people take it as a responsibility, right? That you should be
Yes.
and you should be speaking English fluently, and you should have this kind of tonality and X Y Z. Yes, it is important, but you're forgetting the intelligence behind it. That's what
Yes,
the light is being
absolutely.
told.
And if the Prime Minister of our country thought of English as a hurdle, he would never
He,
be the PM in the first place.
that's a
So
very
what
good
he does
example.
is, yeah, he just focuses on getting the grammar right because you owe it to the language. You owe it to the language to not disrespect it by screwing up the grammar. I'm sorry for the vocabulary. But at the same time, he does not focus on getting very fluent or matching up the pace of his onshore
Accent,
counterparts. He
yeah.
does not do that.
Not
Yeah.
focus on
He does not.
accent also.
Yes, yes, you will get it right eventually after practicing it. But
That's
what
true.
he does is just focus on getting the grammar right and focus on expressing the ideas well. If that part
Right.
is done, your job is done. You just need to remember that.
That's correct. And moving on to another question, Nidhi, is how can a person, increase his communication abilities in today's era?
You will not like the answer, but there is only one way: practice. You have to let go the fear of judgment. You have to be open to feedbacks. A lot of people want to improve, but at the same time, if someone is correcting them, they don't like it. So
Correct.
you have to first let go of those inhibitions.
Hmm.
If someone is saying that I want some jalapenos in my sandwiches, and the other person's like, it is not jalapenos, it is jalapenos, you should not get offended. Point number one. You should remember that this is not something that we were taught growing up. So, how are we supposed to know that? And learning is a process. You cannot accomplish that in the first 20 years or 30 years of your life. So,
Correct.
you have to accept that you will have to keep evolving, keep learning. And if you get offended by such insignificant feedbacks, you will never improve. Point number one. Point
Mm.
number two, if you are reading something, say a newspaper or an article, a blog, anything,
Mhm.
if you are not able to understand something, the problem is not in you or the article. The problem is just some knowledge gap that you can bridge very easily by a simple Google search. If you're not able to understand, just Google it. You have resources to understand. Why give up? The problem
Mm.
is people give up. They feel I will not be able to make sense of it. I will not be able to make head or tail of this. I will not be able to analyze it. And they give up. That is
Correct.
where the problem lies. So like any other language, कोई भी भाषा, खाली English की बात नहीं है, कोई भी भाषा, the minute you start practicing it, the minute you start thinking in that language, you will be able to get very good hold on it. You will get the hang of it eventually. Just don't give up. The problem is people
Correct.
give up.
People give up. Yeah, people give up so easily because of humiliation, because of, I mean, a
Yes.
lot of students comes to us and ask us that, I don't want to talk in English. People think that if I speak in English, then they'll make fun of me. They think that,
Yes.
you're making it big and all that, and it's not
Yes.
required. So, but they
Yes.
forget one thing is that if they stop there, then it's not going to happen again.
Never. And they fear coming across as pretentious.
Yeah,
They fear, yeah,
they
especially it
assume a lot
happens
of
in the
things.
friend circles. Yeah.
Assume a
They
lot
are
of.
very comfortable when they are in a workspace, but if
Mhm.
they see their friends, if they see their family members, and they come across as people who are trying to be who they are not. And if anybody passes a small comment, it is
That's
very
it.
cliche, but
Yeah.
people are like, हाँ देखो बड़े लोग आ गए, हाँ देखो इंग्लिश में
Yes.
बात
That's
करें.
true. That's
Yes.
true. It
So,
happens a
so
lot
that
of
is
times.
something, yeah, that is something that inhibits them from growth.
Mm.
And at the workplace, when they see that they are so good with their process knowledge, they are so good with their talent, but just because they were not able to communicate their ideas to the client, they are not promoted. And then they start cribbing that I am so, I'm so good at work and I'm not getting the promotion. You know where the problem lies. You just don't want to work on that.
That's correct. Because I remember
So,
that spoke about an article thing, right? I remember that back in the days when I started off this journey, I remember that I used to never understand something from an article. So I remember that basically we used to have this Oxford dictionary, the small
yes,
pocket
yes,
dictionary one, and
yes,
that
yes. We
time
used to
it
carry
was
that
like,
around.
yeah, I used to carry it and we used to form that word formulation. What
Yes,
is the new word that we learned? And we have to go back and check the meaning of the
yes,
dictionary. But
yes.
today is everything also on mobile.
Today,
So
and
yeah,
things are
it's so
so
easy.
easy. They just need, it is a tap away. You have apps, you have
Yeah.
so many ways.
And the
You
worst
have
part is,
your,
yeah, I guess the
yes,
worst part is to add on to this is that Google have now chosen a thing that speak in your native language, right?
yes,
So I
yes,
think it is, I don't know, it's a technology wise is perfectly fine, but I think it's a lot of hindrance, like
yes, People will
were
choose the
started
easy
off,
way again.
yeah, people
Yes.
just started off with things that they wanted to learn, and now you made it simple
Yes.
for them.
Yes, you made it
And
simpler.
yeah, you made it simple and it
As,
got worse.
yeah, as Indians, we like simple. We choose the line of least resistance. That has
Yeah,
been a problem with us. But if you are genuinely interested in self improvement, in growth, you will not take the easy way anymore. And I wish people don't learn that the hard way.
that's correct.
I
Any
don't want students to, yeah, tell me.
uh, any
Yeah.
tips you want to share with students in terms of
Yes,
understanding?
yes. I would like to tell them that please don't think that you are from engineering background or you are from technical background, so you don't require these skills. No, don't do that. I have been working with engineering students for the last 4 years, and I can see that all of them think that hum technical log hain, we don't need this skill. No, that is not right. Before your company sells the product to the market, you are the one who is going to sell that product to your company, so you need to have that salesmanship, you need to have that communication. So my tip is that focus on getting your core competency right, focus on expressing your subject knowledge the right way, focus on the grammar. Do not focus on the pace, the fluency, the vocabulary. No,
Mhm.
don't go into flowery language. Don't do that. Just focus on getting up in the morning and being confident enough about your idea and pitching it to anybody whatsoever. If you're selling an app, you're selling it to a CEO, you're selling it to a student, you're selling it to everyone.
Mhm.
Not everyone is going to be convinced by your one pitch in nice English. No, you need to be able to communicate in any language whatsoever, just need the confidence for it. So that hear them, listen to them, and work on building your vocabulary accordingly. Yeah,
Okay, so
that would
grammar
be
plays
my
a very important role here, I guess, you know,
absolutely,
because
absolutely. Because yeah, people will get offended if you kind of screw up on the grammar part.
Mhm.
If you are not very good with your fluency, that is still okay.
Mhm.
The pace is slow, that is still okay. But if the grammar is not correct, so it is substantially kind of disrespecting the language.
Mhm.
We ourselves would get offended if someone speaks incorrect Hindi or Marathi in front of us. We will have that itch of rectifying the other person. We will have that. It is the same with English. So just focus on that, and the grammar will be correct if you practice. So yes, practice is the key here.
Correct. So basically, language is going to be one tool, and the foundation is going to be grammar for this. So it is for any
Yes,
language. You talk about,
yes, yes.
English, or you talk about any neutral language or any local rural language. Language is just a tool, but we
Yes,
make it
yes.
so like English ही communication है. English is not
That is not true.
English is not the communication. Communication is a different story, and English is just a subject or a tool, you know. But we make it so big out of that. So in
Yes.
corporate, tell me, like, how can people improve their communication in the corporate world?
For starters, I would really suggest, again, this is going to sound very, very offensive, but this is what my experience was about. If you find one person in your team who belongs to your caste, you start talking to that person in your caste. I have seen that. I'm not talking about especially Maharashtrians or Tamilians. No, I have seen that everywhere, be it Gujus, be it anybody. If you happen to find just one person in your team who speaks your language, you start doing that, and you do not respect the third person enough, and you feel your comfort is paramount. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you are in a corporate setup, be it so that your entire team is of your caste. Don't talk in your local language. Don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. Try to communicate in English, and very subtly, if someone else is not cooperating, you remain assertive. You should not lose your ground.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, in corporate setup, always make sure that you are communicating in English. Please make emails your superpower. You will go places if you know how to write good emails. So in corporate setup, you read a lot of drafts, you read a lot of emails written by seniors in your organization,
Mm-hmm.
and build your language accordingly. And just keep practicing it with your team members. Take initiatives when they want you to speak to foreign clients. I have seen in my own organization, when it comes to dealing with international clients, people are like, nahi, nahi, main nahi usko bolo. Why tum kyun nahi? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
What is the worst that is going to happen? If anything, you will build your confidence, your rapport with your counterpart. So start taking initiatives. So in
Mhm.
corporate world, two things to wrap up. Two things. First, don't get scared. Talk to your team leader. Take initiatives. Tell them that whatever you need, contact me first. I will go out of my way and I will get that done. So take initiatives. And second, please do not resort to your comfort level of your home language when you see team members of the same caste. Don't do that. Speak to
Mhm.
them in English.
That's a wonderful tip that you shared, that in a way, even if you meet people from your community at the corporate level, make sure that you have a neutral way of understanding each other rather than being
Absolutely. I couldn't
emotional
have put that
towards,
better myself.
yeah,
Yes.
emotional towards a particular community, and start speaking, because I know we are a social animal. All humans are
Yes.
social animal, but I would like to belong to a community. But I think leave the corporate
Yes.
and your community aside whenever you
Out of
have
it.
are
Yes.
into a corporate environment. And the most important is that
Absolutely.
the liking and disliking can happen at a casual level, but if you practice a lot, like basically the youngsters, like, they have just joined the organization, and a lot of emails comes to me and ask me that, how can you use communication in our day to day life when it comes to corporate world, but they forget that the basic idea to start this is to practice and to talk.
Absolutely.
Okay, unless and until you
Absolutely.
talk, unless and until you practice, nothing's going to happen, right?
Absolutely. And the content also matters when you are in the corporate world. Once you figure out that the other person is from your community, stick to the agenda at hand. अब वहां मत जाओ कि अच्छा तुम कौन से गांव से हो, मैं इस गांव से हूँ.
Yeah, we like to
You
get
start
associate.
connecting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's a
See,
part of
I'm
actually
not
a
saying.
game, wherein we say the law of
Yeah.
association. Basically, we like to get associated
Yes.
with people what we are comfortable with,
Yes.
because we
This
don't want to get
does work in
uncomfortable.
businesses. I am not saying
Yeah.
it is not effective tool. If you are into say suppose आप कोई मिठाई की दुकान लेके खोल के बैठे हो और आप ऐसे बात कर रहे हो, it works. See, if it comes to a product based company, it works. But if you are into a service based company, stick to the agenda first. The catching up can happen later. Like you said, the casual part is also important. But
Mhm.
don't make it your primary way of doing business. That is what I mean to say. Especially when you are in a proper formal corporate setup. Don't do that.
Perfect, Nidhi. It was great chatting out with you, and thank you for
Same
giving your
here.
time for this
Likewise. My
important
pleasure.
aspect. I know we have a very less time. You are very busy in your schedule, and but still, I really appreciate the fact that you've actually given up time and shared some lot of important tips with the students, and the students will definitely make the best out of this. And
Thank you so
so, where we can connect with
much.
you, Nidhi, in on social media?
So you can either drop in a message on my website, which is coherentcommunications.in.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I have an Instagram handle which goes by Nidhi_bibliofile. It is very easy to find. So yeah, these two platforms are enough. I am quite active on both of them. So yes, in case you wish to message, I am happy to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nidhi. It was wonderful chatting up with you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, Atul. Likewise. I'll see you.
Thank you.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye bye.